Another edition of Living the Dream, Part 2. Thanks to everybody who was all fired up last week about it. They're like, I bet that you're bringing the podcast back. And I'm like, I am. And who was that lady that's a ball of energy, a spitfire, that Texan, Mireya Villarreal? And at the end of the podcast, I said, we have to do another episode. We got to do a Part 2. And you're like, yeah, no problem. And then we texted back and forth. And you're like, how about Monday? You know what? How about Monday? Back-to-back weeks. Today's guest, and I have a feeling we're going to just keep on going over and over and over. Mireya Villarreal shows up all the way from Texas, rocking the Aggies shirt. Mireya, how are you feeling? Thanks for coming back on the show.
Well, I have a glass of something on the rocks today. So, it's a Monday. It has been a day. It has been a day.
It has been a day. Well, since you have a cocktail, I'm going to go and get a beer too. And
wait, hold on. Let me see what you got. That's so cute.
It is. This is a Beer Thug Life, my homie, who usually chugs these. This is a craft beer, 8.5%. And not bad. So if you know anything about the Mexican lifestyle, there's a Tres Flores, the hair product, and that looks like it. So it's like every guy in LA had it when they were growing up, so he made that logo right there. I have it. I'll send you the video of me chugging it with him. There's a guy named Beer Thug Life, and he's a former Cholo.
That's always what I've wanted, to watch you chug a beer.
Yeah.
That's what's been missing in my life, Beto.
You know what, Mireya? Last week, you and I, we were all professional, fun, and everything else. Now, you're like that little, you're a shit talker. And I like that.
Yeah, we got the strap showing. We got the drink in hand. I mean, it is a week, and it is just Monday.
And it is just Monday. So let's keep going with this. All right. So taking people behind the scenes, we were supposed to do part 2 this morning, on Monday morning, and we realized, hey, what day works for us? I'm like, Monday's usually pretty good, nothing crazy. Yeah, I know you're in Texas a couple hours ahead of me. We're gonna do it this morning. I wake up to a text, dude, gotta go. I'll talk to you later. Do you have another time later on this afternoon? I'm like, yeah, no biggie, because I don't life happens. I figured it was something with your kid or whatever, because it's you're homeschooling like everybody else. Then I see Instagram, and you're in a full-on blazer, 6 a.m. with your crew. Then there's a COVID test, and then there's running around, and then your son, and this back and forth. So, hello.
Hello.
What the hell happened to you today?
Talk about mi vida loca, no?
Right?
So yesterday what was crazy is I had some family come into town over the weekend, which I was very excited about. And so we had made a bunch of plans. And as you know, when you make plans, the news universe decides to send you something completely different, So yesterday we were out on a lake having a good time, and I'm with my son. First time on a boat, so it's exciting. And I get a call. Can't wait for you to work on this story for tomorrow morning. And I'm like, what story? So it turns out they want to work on this story having to do, and it was a very important and very sad story. A young boy who had lost his life, a brain-eating amoeba. He somehow got it. They're still trying to figure out how, and died from it. And this was about 3 weeks ago. Yeah, it is extremely rare. But man, this kid, 6 years old. And, look, for me, what I've worked on over the last, 6 years or so, 7 years since I've been with CBS Network is the art, the craft of interviewing people. As people can tell when you're being genuine or not. And I think now more than ever on Zoom, people can feel that authenticity. And if you can connect with somebody over Zoom or a FaceTime or a Skype, whatever it might be, man, you are it in this business. You have accomplished something big. And so I have been working on that really hard. And I feel like, over the last 6 to 8 months, I've still been able to form that connection, right, with people. So this mom has lost her 6-year-old son. I have a 4-year-old boy. I'm on a lake yesterday as we're talking about this. And it was rough, man. I mean, we sat and talked for about 15, 20 minutes.
Oh, wait a minute. Is that why on your Instagram I saw that you had a computer out, on the deck?
So I normally travel, as weird as it sounds, I normally will travel with hotspot Wi-Fi, my laptop, or some sort of device. I try to. And then what we call an iRig, and I don't have it with me, but basically it's a microphone that you can attach to your cell phone, and you could instantly, if I needed to, I could go and what we call track a package. Basically, I could voice something that could go on air right now if I needed to. It's always with me. So about 3 things are usually with me. Yeah. And so I had my laptop with me. I asked them to pull over the boat, got out of the boat, did the interview. The people that we were with waited for us in the boat while we did this for about 30 minutes. And here I am sobbing, because this woman has lost her son and she is so strong and she's talking about him, and it just was heartbreaking. And so that story was on this morning. And I had a hard time sleeping last night because I thought it would be smart as a something-year-old woman to attempt to surf off the back of the boat, And I've done kneeboarding before, but man, I woke up so sore this morning. And so I didn't really sleep. And so I'm up at 4 a.m., do the live shot. And as I'm closing up and getting ready, I take my son to school. This is about 8 o'clock now, and they call and say, ring, ring, you got to go to Houston. I'm like, for what? To do this story. But now they want it from the Houston area. So jump in the car. I'm about an hour down the road. Ring, ring. It's my nanny. She says, I have some bad news. I tested positive for coronavirus. Dude. So then it's like this barrage of phone calls because my head goes to, what about my son? He's in school. What about my crew? They're on their way. What, who have I talked to? What do I, who are they? Luckily, when she was with my son, it was only once last week, and it was for about 3 hours, but they were together. They were around each other. I was around her, and you just don't know anymore with coronavirus. And so then it became you still got to do the story, but now you got to get tested for coronavirus, and you're in quarantine. So that's been my day today. That's been my day. I was on tonight, though. I did make the news.
Cheers.
I did. Cheers to that. Mm.
So your story did make the news.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it hasn't aired in LA as we're recording this, so I'll check it out later.
It hasn't. It's already on the social medias, whichever one you like. It is out there. It's about a 1 minute, 5-second package of goodness, but yes, it's on. Yeah.
It's wow. So you had to take a coronavirus test today?
So I turned back around. I scheduled, there's a place up just outside of the Dallas area that I've gone to several times when I've done some of these stories. And so I scheduled an appointment, and I went first, and then I went and picked up my kid. And, look, I will agree, like, doctors have said that the good thing about it was when my nanny was around my son, she wasn't presenting symptoms. And she didn't until she called me this morning and then told me, I've tested positive. I have started to feel the symptoms as of today. So that's kind of when the clock starts for the most part and when you're most contagious. And that's what, but as a parent, honestly, and as someone who does this and I need to be healthy all the time, I was like, nah, I got to go get this test.
Had you had a test before?
This is my 5th test since all this started, yeah. But this is my son's first test.
Ooh.
And I tried to prepare him enough. He did okay, but I had to hold him down, and it was tough. It was tough. So it was hard. And to explain all these things to a 4-year-old, you don't want him to be scared of it, and you don't want him to fear a doctor, but man, it was a rough one today. So. Yeah,
I saw you posted on your Instagram of you taking the test, and they did both nostrils. I'm 8 for 8 right now. I've taken 8 of them. I've done the nose, I've done the mouth, the swallow. It sucks every single time. But I can't imagine. Dude, it's hard enough taking a toddler and a kid to the dentist.
Oh, yeah.
Let alone, like, hey, kid, they're going to do this to your nose? But it was cute, though, what you did. You're like, what are they going to do? And he's, like, picking his nose. They're doing this. I'm like, yeah.
I did put something up on Instagram earlier, but then I with that kind of stuff, like, I just feel like you're going to get haters. And I get a lot of hate for a lot of different stuff. Yeah. And so I thought, like, this is maybe one of those moments where, like, well, I think it's a teaching moment for my son. Mm-hmm. The last thing I want is for people to be like, well, what is he doing and where are you? Well, and like then you just got people in your ear, and so I was like, you know what? I think it's just best that this needs to be between me and him, and of course the doctors.
Yeah.
It is what it is. So, but rapid tests both came back negative.
All right,
so
good.
Free.
Good job. So now your kid can go watch the garbage truck when they come later on this week.
That's you fist bump the garbage man.
Wait, you said you get haters? How?
So yeah, so it just depends on the story that I'm doing. But in the beginning, it was pretty intense. I mean, there were people that would make fun of my name, how I said it. I mean, this was before even. What's crazy is before the new administration came in, and then it escalated, right? But even before then, I mean, yeah, a lot of people who are used to seeing a certain type of person on the news had a hard time with someone named Mireya Villarreal. So if it was like, say your name the way the rest of us say it, why can't you, you need to go back to journalism school. I mean, so yeah.
What?
Really intense there for a while. So.
Do you still get it?
On big polarizing stories, yeah. So immigration is huge. Like I'm always getting stuff back and forth on that. I've done quite a few mass shootings. That'll bring a lot of people out, a lot of haters out as well. And that's for different reasons. I mean, that's more like you want to take people's guns away, and so
come on.
I still get some hate on both sides of it. So it never fails. I mean, that's just the way it is.
You don't post anything controversial. You post your story.
Yeah, and I try really hard to. I mean, it is. I actually, it's funny. I was at a brunch on Sunday, and some guy said something to the effect of like, "I don't believe coronavirus is a thing." And for me, I've gone into a hospital where you see it everywhere. I've had family members who have died from it, and for me, that's the moment where I just kind of want to listen to what he has to say. And so I try really hard to make sure I'm down the middle no matter what I'm posting. But it doesn't really matter. I think people have their opinions. So
people suck.
No, the other, yeah.
I say it, you won't. It's cool. All right, so we continue to roll. Like I said, we had fun with you last week. The podcast is good. You got a lot of good feedback, right?
I did. I got a lot of people that were saying, first of all, that we make a good couple, but not in that dirty way. So don't get your mom all excited. You're bringing home a Latina. Oh, finally, Beto. No.
I'll edit that. Let me edit that out. My mom doesn't speak English. Good thing she don't speak English or know what I do. So it's good.
She doesn't get it yet.
No.
It's okay. My mom doesn't either. I got a lot of that. A lot of that. We have good chemistry. A lot of thanks for the honesty. You guys were so funny. And then the one thing I got that we talked a lot about is the fact that it wasn't just about news and it wasn't just about sports. It was about the craziness of our lives and kind of what happens behind the scenes and how we're surviving in this business and what it really takes. And so I think people like the idea that it was just that inspiration as well.
Yeah, and it was back and forth, and people asked me like, that was a good guest. Yeah, I try to diversify my guests over the years. But it's always been like my friends. Like I said, I don't know you. I've never met you until last week virtually. But it was like I didn't know your personality. I just I'm one of your fans on social media, and I'm like, this person is very professional. She tweets about their story, and that's it. On Instagram, she tweets about where she's working, her kid, and it's like, okay, there's a lot of relatable stuff here. It's not, so it's like you don't know somebody until you talk to them, because there's also guests that I've had where I'm like, all right, cool, I'm excited, and then they get talking, and it's like, yeah, let me,
when's this over?
Yeah. Not when's it over, because it's especially as an interviewer, you always want. I always say it's the person doing the interview that gets something out of that person. But it was like, okay, it was cool, back and forth. And I gained a bunch of followers because of you, and I think it was vice versa for both. But the comments were always...
I got a lot of men and a lot of boxing guys. And I'm like, what? At first I wasn't sure what was going down. I'm like, did somebody post a nude pic of me? Like, what is happening here? Like, where are all these followers coming from? But then I realized the connection.
Yeah, so, I have a lot of boxing fans, but a lot of it was we didn't know how hard you guys have had it to get to where you're at. And once again, not that we're complaining, because everybody has it hard when you get to that path. And people sent me a couple questions that they wanted to know about you. And when I kept saying we're going to do a part two, so one of the questions that I got was, ask Mireya what was her toughest job.
Oh.
Yeah, it's Ask Mireya time.
Oh.
Without giving too many details.
I mean, this has been the toughest. This has been the toughest. For news, I will say this has been the toughest, because I kind of feel like I mean, this is best of the best, right? Like you're competing against some amazing journalists around the world, right? So that's the hard part. So this is definitely by far, when it comes to news, this has been the toughest for me, because you also have to like diversify yourself. It's not just about like, I did investigative for a really long time, and I felt like I was in a good place with it. But this teaches you to go from I did a story on Barbie, and then ended up in a wildfire, and then did it, and so it's you have to show this range of who you are. Yeah.
Barbie?
Yeah. Remember we talked about this? I was the only woman on the West Coast, west of the Mississippi for like, I don't know, 2 years almost. And so they needed someone to do a story on Barbie and the new Barbies that were coming out.
Oh, the new Barbies that were, yeah. Okay.
Because there was like Latina Barbie, and there was like pink hair Barbie, and voluptuous Barbie and stuff. And so, I mean, they weren't going to have like a Carter Evans do that story. It'd have to be like, And then it was even crazier because at the time I was real pregnant. So they had me sitting at the little table with the kids, and that just looked awful. Like, I mean, I could barely even sit on that kiddie table. I was just trying to like scrunch up there. It was so bad. But I will say by far the hardest job was really like my first job out of high school, like kind of into college. I worked at Joe's Crab Shack. And this was a big deal back in the day, because this is the one where they would play the Macarena. And then have you ever been to a Joe's Crab Shack?
Nah.
No. Okay. So they play different songs. It's like 5 or 6. And the whole point is that the waiters or waitresses get up on the tables or the chairs or even just on the floor, and they dance. And one of the ones that they dance to is the Macarena. And so it's basically like you eat crabs and you have seafood and then you have dancing waiters. And so it's like a fun thing, right? And I desperately wanted to be a bartender at Joe's Crab Shack. And so the bartender said,
"Wait, you're out of high school and you want to be a bartender?"
Well, I mean, I don't know. It seemed kind of cool, know.
But you're mature. You're a mature young lady.
Well, back in the day, everybody was like, you could be a waiter, you could be a bartender, because those people were cool, so the guy says to me, and I didn't realize he was pulling my chain, but he says, "Okay, look, the way you can learn to be a bartender and the way you get into the program is you have to take this bottle of 151, you put it in your mouth, like a shot in your mouth. Then you gotta get the lighter, and you gotta blow a flame like this, like Circus Olay. This dude, right? This guy is blowing that smoke up, and I am in awe. Not only is this guy like handsome, but then he's blowing fire out of his mouth, and I'm like, dude, and you're chingona. Like, sure, I can do this, no problem. Like, I've been to Mexico a bunch of times. I know how to take my liquor. Yeah, I like think of like Fireball.
I know.
It is. I mean,
it's
so
151.
I didn't realize this. Yes, and so I did it, and I turned on the lighter, and it was burning my mouth. And so instead of it coming out in a stream, it came out in this like spitting everywhere. And I thought like, oh man, I obviously am not going to be a bartender. And so I turn around, and I'm like depressed and sad that I haven't gotten it. All of a sudden, the fire alarms start going off.
Shut.
And the sprinklers. So it turned out that I did light that 151 on fire, and then it lit the whole bar on fire.
Shut.
Yes, they had to come and get fire extinguishers. The fire marshal came out. I obviously never became a bartender.
You are awesome.
Because I lit a bar on fire? I mean...
Yes!
It was not pretty. It was not pretty. And look at me now.
Yeah,
look at me now.
As you're holding a cocktail in your hand. Now you know how to do with liquor. Because I know this. We've seen it with 151. You light it on fire. There used to be something. They would do it with Dr. Pepper. They would call it shoot the root. Right? You would light them on. Yeah, you weren't shooting out your mouth. But I remember seeing that. I'm like, this is just stupid. Because the drinker that I am, like, why do you want to light something on fire? Or just drink it. I thought I was all bad, right? like just drink it like that. Like, my thing is, I'm anti any colored drinks. Like, I tell all these young kids, if you ever go anywhere and you're a bunch of guys, don't ever order the Shark Attack with a bunch of straws in there. Don't do that. Like, you can't do that. If you're a guy, you shouldn't have like an Adios, nothing that's blue. A Cape Cod's okay, but a Long Island, no. Like, you gotta. That's what you gotta do as a guy. You gotta teach these younger kids how to properly drink. And if you want to see a girl light a place on fire, you encourage her. You tell her, Mija, you can. You get 151, and we're going to call the fire department for you. I I respect you, Mireya Villarreal, even more right there.
Thank you, thank you. The one rule I have in a bar, the one rule I have, if you're going out drinking with your friends, this is the one piece of advice I always give my younger friends. I always say, buy the first round. And they're like, why? That's so expensive. And I'm like, no. Here's the deal. You buy the first round. Everybody is so sober. They remember who bought the first round, and then everybody is buying you drinks the whole night.
So now we're going to get into... Okay, this podcast is off the rail. Okay, you and I, we're going to do our own podcast, separately version. We're going to get away from the living the dream. You and I, we're going to start our own. Are you down?
I think I'm down.
All right, so you and I...
I'm here.
So
I'm here.
We're going to start another one, and it's going to be life advice, life hacks for you, right? Something along those lines. I mean, I don't know what it is, but it's like something along those lines. But right now, it's very important that these young people learn about drinking as professionals. There's rules because, like I said, we're a kindred spirit here. Because I agree with you 100%. If you go somewhere, just buy the first round. It's classy. It's a good move. And for the people who say, "Oh, it's too expensive," then that's the kind of person you need to get out of your circle. Like you got, right?
Yeah, you want to go out drink with big boys, you know.
But it's also something that you got to learn as a professional. See, they should teach these classes in college too. How to be a professional drinker, not alcoholic wise, but like etiquette of like, hey, this is how you order a martini. Here's your order of bourbon neat, you know, those kind of things, right? Because how much has drinking socially helped you along your career?
Quite a bit. And it's funny that you say that.
And once again, we're not telling you to get drunk. Don't get drunk, people.
No, not at all. But you have to be able to go out there and again, it's not even, if you don't even drink, you don't have to. It's about being able to be in that setting and to be able to socialize and to be able to not judge people if they're drinking or they're drunk. You know, it's those moments that that's when you take home some numbers and you call them the next day and say, wasn't that fun? By the way, what's the scoop here? You know, I mean, it you know, again, I caution people to be careful on how they do that in any business.
Yes.
But I do think that it would be silly for us to say that that's not where a lot of deals are done.
I got a job out of it one time, not because of Latin, but I was told, this is early on, I was in San Antonio for Lakers playoffs, 2008 Memorial Day. We go to a dinner. They're like, oh, we're going to go to Ruth Chris. I'm like, that's a fancy ass steakhouse. Like, I just barely became full time. I ain't got no money for Ruth Chris. Yeah. I'm like, and they're like, just go to the bar and get a drink. I'm like, they're like, Beto, we have an expense account. Don't worry about it. I'm like, what's that? Like, I was so new and naive. I didn't know anything about this world. Like, yeah. And when you go there, make sure you get a man drink. I'm like, what the fuck's a man drink? And I'm like, what do you mean? Because I had a Pacifico. You know, I'm good. They're like, it's not gonna because everybody was an older person in their 40s. I'm in my 20s. They're like, you got to get a drink. They're like, get bourbon neat. I'm like, no, that hurts.
that burns your stomach.
It does. But I realized those 6 men that were at that group, all of them had a bourbon neat or they had a martini. And the next person asked me, he's like, hey, you ever had a martini? And I'm like, damn it, I shouldn't be mixing this. I know I shouldn't mix this. And I'm like, no. They're like, okay, here's how you drink a martini. You got to get it dirty. They explain the amount of olives, why you have 3, the cheeses that they come with it. And I was like, I was into it. I'm like, cool, because I'd only seen martinis like in James Bond movies, right? Or remember, it's 2008, or girls drinking sour apple martinis. Like, don't do that, right? But that led to a conversation. The guy's like, hey, you're really into this. You remind me of my grandson. I wish he would have listened to me when I'm telling him to talk about this. Yeah. Got his card. I ended up getting a freelance job a few months later because I was willing to listen to this man explain to me what a martini is about. It's like those little kind of things. I'm like,
just a moment.
It's the moment. You got to be into it. Once again, don't get hammered. That's another. When you're out with professionals, don't get hammered.
Everybody remembers that person dancing around a hat, mariachi style. So we don't need that. You don't need that.
Mixing some water sometimes. How's your drink, girl?
It's good. It's nice. It's just chilling. You know what I'm saying? So that's good.
Is the edge off from today?
A little bit. I think so. I mean, I think I was just, the kid thing is really, it always, I know, I don't want to be a bad mom. I don't, that sounds kind of crazy, but I don't want to be the mom that it was on my watch that my kid got corona. I mean, that's just not what you want. No parent wants that, but I mean, especially when you're a few months out of being divorced and You feel like the whole weight of the world is on your shoulders, and so that's not. I mean, like that's what runs through my head is I'm going to be a bad mom.
Are you always okay? First of all, you're not a bad mom. Like we established it last
mom
week.
Guilt is real, man. Mom guilt is real. Doesn't matter where I could be at home with my kid all the time. That mom guilt would still be real. It doesn't matter.
Now, you have the mom guilt, but do you have a bag where you're on call all the time? How does that work for you?
Yeah. So we talk about that all the time. I'm good friends with several of the other correspondents. So, like the Carter Evans of the world and the Omar Villafrancas and Manny, Bajorquez out of Florida. And all of us have the different go bags. I mean, it just depends. Like now I carry probably 2 or 3 different ones. I have, you have to have the professional one. So you got to be able to put on some heels and look professional. Although now I mix in like the Nike Cortezes every now and then.
No, you don't.
Yeah. I if I'm going to be sprinting somewhere, might as well just put those things on, look kind of pimp about it. Then I have a bag for, like, right now it's hurricane season. So from, like, August through probably November, hurricane gear is ready to go. I probably have, like, 4 different rain boots, 3 different pairs of waders. I got, like, 6 different, like, rain jackets now because sometimes I was at a girls' trip for New Orleans. This was, like, 2-3 weeks ago. And everybody's having a good old time, and I get the ring ring. Hurricane Sally's coming your way. We're gonna need you to go ahead and gear up. Yeah, no, you have to be ready. And well,
oh yeah, you did. I remember you went.
I basically could cover Hurricane Sally in like hoochie shorts, if that's what you want. But that's just not appropriate. So you got to go buy gear. So that's what you do. So I took the day, go buy some gear, and ready for Hurricane Sally the next day.
Like, what's your schedule? Like, are you on call? How's this work?
Man, I guess, like, coronavirus has really kind of messed up the schedule. Like, I'm not joking when I say, like, 7 o'clock rolls around, 6:30 when my kid gets up, and the moment I, like, get out of bed, I'm already on emails. I'm already on Slack, or I'm already on phone calls or whatever. So sometimes it just depends. If news breaks overnight, they'll call you overnight. I'd like to think that I have my weekends off, but, I just talked about right now being on a lake and having to pull over so I could do a Zoom chat. And you can say no. The art of saying no, though, it's been difficult for me. But part of that is I'm type A, I'm extremely competitive. But, saying no every now and then is kind of essential. But, in this moment, it's not that easy. So
do you have normal, like, days you're like, okay, this day I'm off, or?
I try to. I try to, like, schedule. When I'm with my kid, for the most part, I'm like, that time is our time for the most part, And I think people are way more respectful of that now than maybe even a year ago. I think coronavirus has put a lot of people in check, and I think it's given people new perspective, on the value of what being able to disconnect truly means. Because now that you're working from home, like, it's not even working from home. Like, my home is my work now, and my work is home. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's intertwined at this point. And so to be able to tell someone, like, no, like, I really can't, like, I've got this thing going, like, it's just, that's it. Or for that matter, for a lot of those people now, it's almost like I'm not comfortable covering this because of coronavirus or because it's in this situation. There are a lot of people that, we went down to the valley and got into that hospital that's overrun by coronavirus. There were quite a few crews that didn't want to do it. So, you got to respect that.
See, for me, I know when I'm at work because I look at the schedule. I'm like, okay, Dodgers playing this day, Lakers playing that day, there's a fight, whatever. Like, yeah. So what's your schedule like on Sunday? Your bosses tell you this is what's going on this week, or like, what is your beat actually? Like, what do you cover?
So I cover everything now. I do. I specialize a lot in border immigration coverage. I definitely am the go-to mom for a lot of stuff, although there are quite a few moms that are at CBS News. But, it just depends. But a lot of border stuff, a lot of immigration, a lot of Latino, Latinx stories. But I don't shy away from hurricanes and wildfires. I'm trying really hard to get on Sunday morning for CBS. That's difficult, extremely competitive, and so it's a challenge. But that also means, like, I have to be able to change my, how I look on air, how I act on air, and my voice, and it's just different. So
what do you mean?
What's that face for?
Like, what do you mean how you look?
Okay, like the way you cover a hurricane is not the way that you would sit down and have a conversation with. Yeah. Jesse Reyes, for example, if that's who I was really pushing to do, which, by the way, I am. But, pie in the sky. pie in the sky. So
Okay.
yeah, we'll
So
see how.
okay, so you said your voice. What about your voice?
Well, I don't know. Like I could read. I mean, like I could. I'm looking around to see if I could read something. Like if you sent me a text message right now, I could probably read it 6 different ways. All depending on what show I would be on, what the tone of the story is. If I'm doing a taco truck story, well, yeah, that's gonna be fun and exciting.
Yeah, y'all.
Eating a gordita, yeah, and that's me. But then you go to a brain-eating amoeba, and that's a completely different tone. So it's all in how you pause and breathe. But look at your face. You're like looking at me like that. No, it's serious. Like I tell people all the time, like your breathing is essential. Like how you read it. I had one amazing consultant that once told me, like, okay, take a piece, take the one thing that you like to read the most. Probably for you, it's the comics, isn't it, Beto? I knew it. I figured I knew it. So you
First
take
thing.
that, yeah, you take that and you read it out loud every day, and it's like for me now, how I read my kids' books is how I should be reading a feature. It's fun, it's energetic, you got voices, but that's going to be completely different than how I would read a story about a hurricane or about a brain-eating amoeba. So
You just said right there. You said a hurricane.
see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Amoeba.
Yes. Amoeba.
Taco.
That's a big difference.
Did
yeah.
you get told? Did they send you to voice school or like consultants or teachers?
No, there are some people, I will say, there are some people that do get voice training. Some of it is like because they might have an accent. I'm not going to tell you who. No way.
No, I've been to them. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. Some people get voice training. I didn't need it.
Yes, we get it. You're type A. You're awesome. You're amazing. We get it. Continue. Oh,
Yeah, no.
Yeah, you're so humble too.
Some people, I mean, it just depends. I mean, yeah, shut up, man. Yeah, it just depends. But yeah, some people do voice training. Some people, it's just like you work on it. It's a constant like give and take. So there you go.
Have people told you sound too Texan?
No, I've never gotten too Texan, and I've actually never gotten that I have like a Hispanic or Latino accent. I've never gotten that either.
Pero por qué?
But sometimes it comes out. You know what I'm saying?
It's when ESPN hired me, I got sent to a voice coach, and what he did, I was like, okay, cool. And then a month later, I got sent to another voice coach who told me to do the opposite of what I just been told. I'm like, so which one is it, guys? Like, you want me to do? It was just more for like the enunciations of the ESPN style, or like you said, punch it. Like if the guy scores a basket, just punch things, just little details. And I'm like, okay. Then a third month, I get another consultant, and finally, I asked one of my friends, mentor of mine. I'm like, what am I doing here? And she told me, you're gonna get fired anyways, so just do what you want to do. And it was just more of like, don't try to conform to what everybody else is telling you to do. Like, you got here for a reason. You're talented enough, but it's just big bosses try to tell you too much. And it's like, they can't get out of their own way because everybody wants to be the smartest one. Look at that. For real. So when you read to your kid, do you pretend like you're at work?
No. I actually do really good voices.
Oh?
Yeah.
Oh?
Yeah. So, no, I do really good voices.
Such as?
I was in theater when I was younger, and so I do really good voices. Like I mean, I can definitely turn it on depending on what it is. Like, so like for example, like there's this book called The Day the Crayons Quit. I don't know if you've ever heard this book, but basically it's a story about how these crayons quit being crayons, right? And so there's like, I don't know, 10 or 12 of them, and so for each crayon there's like a little story, and I do a different voice for each one.
Well, we're waiting.
Really?
Yeah. You want to be on? You want to start a podcast?
Give me a second.
Good. I'll do the commercials right now. Thanks as always for listening, for living the dream. You're on iTunes. You're on Spotify, the YouTube, whatever it is. You can see the video thing behind me. In the Works, Woodworks took care of me, and he made that for me. It's pretty cool. And I'm dead serious about this. I'm going to start another podcast with Mireya. I've been telling her that maybe we should, and I think she's down for it. So if you guys have any tips, let me know. Send me Instagram, Beto Vision, Twitter, Duran Sports. I think if Mireya and I do something on our own, separately, I think it'll be legit. It'll be a hit because...
Hey, look, here's the thing.
Oh, she's back. We
We need to come back. We need to have a good name, And we need what do people really want to hear? I mean, you can't hear about Beto and Mireya all the time. I mean, that seems kind of like silly.
I mean,
You know?
I got plenty of stories. Let me see. I wake up, take a kid to school. I wait. I tweet. I argue with people on Twitter. Come
on.
It's sports. That's what I do. I troll friends. I'm in the group chat with our friends, and then I try to figure out when I'm playing golf. And yeah, that's about it.
Okay, so I do this for my kid, but just so you know.
Oh, man. So, The Day the Crayons Quit.
Yeah, so the book is called The Day the Crayons Quit. And the reason why I like to read it so much to my kid is because, when I was younger and I used to do theater, I did a bunch of different voices. And so, it's always kind of fun. I mean, I like to say, I was probably never good at it, but I think it's fun to do them. And so for him, I mean, he's 4 and he's going to love what I do. Although sometimes I annoy even him. So here's what the book looks like. So this is the green crayon. So as you can see, there's green and there's dinosaurs and whatever. So let me make sure that this is the one I do. This particular, yeah. And in case you hear pitter pattering, it's because my dog is this big fat basset hound named Biggie, after Notorious. Okay, so I'll do the green one and then I'll do the pink one for you. So there's this pink one, so you can see, and then there's the green one.
Okay.
All right. Can't believe I'm doing this for you.
Do it! It's a New York Times bestseller. Day the Dragons Quit. Day the Crayons Quit by Drew DeWalt and international bestseller Oliver Jeffers. And now, voiced by Mireya Villarreal.
All right, so green crayon. Dear Duncan, as green crayon, I'm writing for 2 reasons. One is to say I like my work. Loads of crocodiles, trees, dinosaurs, and frogs. I have no problems and wish to congratulate you on a very successful coloring things green career so far. The second reason is I want to write for my friends, yellow and green and orange crayon, who are no longer speaking to each other. Both crayons feel they should be the color of the sun. Please settle this soon because they are driving the rest of us crazy. Your happy friend, Green Crayon. That's just it's just
so Green Crayon is from the South.
Yes. Well, kind of. He's got that, army, military thing going on.
He's rough.
Then you have the pink crayon who comes in next, and it's a 2 different, very southern kind of, And so she's like, Dear Duncan, okay, listen here, kid. You have not used me once in the past year. It's because you think I'm a girl's color, isn't it? Speaking of which, can you please tell your little sister I think that she did a wonderful job coloring the Little Princess coloring book. I think she did fabulous at staying inside the lines. Now back to us. If you could please use me sometime to color the occasional pink dinosaur and monster, or maybe even a pink cowboy. I mean, goodness knows I need a little splash of color. Your unused friend, the pink crayon. So he amuses me by letting me read in these silly, crazy voices. So yeah, that's
you
kind of what
can't
I do.
ever have mom guilt when you have those voices. There's no way. That's awesome.
Well, I mean, it's
awesome.
Fun.
That's
fun for
awesome.
Now. It's fun for now.
Yeah,
so.
that reminded me of Susan Sarandon in Bull Durham. Of course, I'm going back to the baseball references. That voice right there, Oh, man, Annie Savoy, there you go. That was awesome, though. That's cool.
Yeah, don't tell anybody I did that, okay?
No, nobody's watching this. Nobody's
watching
this. I'm not going to make a promo out of this. I'm not going to do all kinds of other stuff for it. That's cool, though. Because, look, my kids are old now, 15 and 10, so I'm not reading to them anymore. The stuff they're reading, I don't even know what they're reading. I buy the books. That's about it. For Michaela, my daughter, she's, reading all the time.
But by the way, she's a badass.
She's legit. She's legit. She's feisty.
Better watch out for her, for real.
Michaela is a feisty. She was a preemie. She was almost 3 months early. So she was not even 4 pounds. They told us that she was gonna spend 3 months in the NICU. She spent 3 weeks. She came out kicking and fighting, and she still hasn't stopped. So she's awesome. She's feisty. She's cool. But man, she's a handful. So she's teaching me how to skateboard again. So we'll be doing all right. Yeah. So Michaela's cool. I'm not allowed to call her. I'll say it. She ain't gonna listen. I'm not allowed to call her Mija in public.
Why?
My name is Michaela, Dad.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, she's at that age. Okay.
She's like,
Hey, you
me.
gotta respect it.
She's like, only mija around just me and you. So I was like, hey, mija. And she'll turn around. Hey! I'm like, oh, sorry. Sorry that your aunts are here. Like, you know them. But yeah, that's cool. So it's an interesting time. So read as long as you can to the little boy, to little Biggie. And Biggie does a great
No,
job.
Mason. Oh, well, yeah, little Biggie, yeah. Yeah, I hear ya.
Mason, we'll call him Little Biggie. He's all right.
Little Biggie. Yeah, there
Little
you go.
Biggie. All right, so it's a Monday.
Yeah.
Do you have
End of month.
assignments for the rest of the week?
I do, kind of. Since the corona situation, even though I've tested negative, we are out of an abundance of caution putting me on a 7-day quarantine that started when I potentially exposed myself. So like last Thursday. So technically I'm working from home, but that doesn't really mean anything. Like I have a story that's airing on CTM on Wednesday, which is the morning show. I will probably be available to do, we have some stuff working out of Fort Hood for the week. I'm working from home. Plus, I'm still doing the 60 in September, so I need to make sure I get my runs in the next few days to make sure I get to the 60. I'm close. I think at 47.
60 miles in September for the Latino Media All-Star Runners. So
Yeah.
Okay, but you don't have a schedule. Like,
Oh, no. I mean, yes and no. I mean, but that's why we like it,
it's
right?
fun.
I mean,
Yeah, I like it.
yeah. Yeah, it does not bode well for a personal life, clearly. But I try.
All right. What did you do this weekend? You went to a gala? Or is it a gala?
We're in Texas. It's a gala.
Gala.
Yeah. No, I hosted a virtual gala. I did a gala last year for Magdalena House out of San Antonio. They help women and children who are leaving a very dangerous, sometimes violent situation. They put them up in a very secret area of town, and it's transition housing, and get them to a new life. So last year was amazing. I mean, this group is incredible. They are not just in what they do, but also their fundraising efforts. They asked me back this year, and they decided to do a virtual gala. And I mean, I was surprised. I couldn't believe how well they did. But I did that on Saturday, and then did some family time on Sunday. And yeah, I mean, it was a full weekend to say the least.
That's cool, man. Mireya, you are cool. Look at it. You don't even realize this? You're still on the first drink. We've done 40 minutes already.
Yeah, yes, I'm a slow drinker.
No. I'm just saying the fact that it flew. It feels like 4 minutes.
No, it did. And in fact, I will say the one thing that people did tell me was, if we keep this going, we're going to have to get into your life, dude. I mean, we're just going to have to do that.
Hey, it's a conversation. It's not that hard.
Well, I'm just saying, like, we got to talk about your girlfriends.
And thanks for listening to Living the Dream. It's been real with Mireya Villarreal. I don't have girlfriends. I'm busy married to golf. Trying to become a golf influencer so I can retire in 10 years.
Okay.
The goal is to become such a fancy golf influencer that I move to Cabo, and you're like, hey, I'm going to Cabo. Can I play golf with you? Sure. Here it is.
Okay.
Because,
all right. Well, everybody has a dream.
Well, I mean,
everybody has a dream.
Like your dream is to like be what? Like the biggest badass on CBS, right?
Yes.
Yeah, mine is like, I already saw my ship sail, so I'm like, whatever. I'm not doing Sports Center. I don't care. Like, move to Cabo, play golf 4 times a week, and then do some high school football games somewhere. I'm okay. I live a very simple life. I only have one pair of dress shoes. I usually have Vans on the whole time. And
no, that's not a bad thing. I love me some Vans.
I think for me, the ambition is just gone. To like, the ambition to be like the biggest, baddest star with like billboards and all that stuff. Mine is like, you know what? I'm cool being right on the radar, make a little money, and just chill.
Okay.
Yeah. I think 5 years ago I was like, put me on Sports Center. Now I'm like, that's a lot of work. Like it's gonna cut into the golf.
No, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's like I don't need a bag. Yeah, see,
You don't want 3 go bags?
I don't even have a suitcase. I just have a backpack.
Yeah, you know what? Let me just tell you right now, it's kind of weird too, because not only do I have a go bag, but I have a go car, for example. Like there's a rental in my driveway, and I think sometimes the neighbors think that people are creeping often because there's always like a different rental that comes around. Finally, I had to explain to everybody that it's because of what I do, and then we have been keeping the rental cars extra days after we go on assignment because you want to give yourself time to unpack, get everything situated. You might want to get tested for coronavirus, so you keep the rental car so you're not driving your car around. And I swear there were a couple times I got some text messages from neighbors saying like, "There's a Jeep in your front yard. You know, do you know who Jeep that is?" And I'm just like, "It's mine. It's mine."
Mireya, you have different cars every week?
Or I could be a drug runner. I could either be running a pimp
Yes!
house. Yeah, I could be running a house. Like, you don't call it a pimp house. What do you call it? Like a brothel? Like, it's either a brothel or drug running. One of the two is happening in this house.
It's a stash house.
Well, no, not my people. We're not doing stash house. Stash house. That's just awful. Okay, I draw the line somewhere, Beto.
You have morals when it comes to this. Yeah. Okay, it's not a stash house. Okay, good. I'm glad we developed that line right there. A brothel, fine. Stash house, no.
Fine.
You
Drug
really?
running, okay.
Yeah, drug running, that's fine. You're importer exporter. Wait, you really have different rental cars in your driveway every week?
Yeah, and I choose the rental cars based on whether my kid or not would think I'm cool if I brought it home. So I usually try Dodge Chargers, Mustangs, or Jeeps. That's about all that impresses him at this point right now. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I can only imagine your neighbor like looking around like, okay, this petite little lady over here who is
or so just do Tahoes, you know, like big old like Suburbans Tahoes for hurricane coverage. Yeah.
And then I don't know where she's just throwing bags into the back of her car at 4 a.m. and she peels out.
Yeah, they'd be like, "What's going on over there?" Yeah, yeah. No, I'm not running drugs.
And then she's gone for 3-4 days.
Yeah, and then I'm gone for 3 or 4 days, and then I come back, and all of a sudden I'm exhausted for a few days. Yeah, yeah. Oh, and by the way, can you watch my dog?
Oh.
Yeah, so.
And you just came back from hurricane coverage, probably mud, hair all over the place. Like, yeah, sure you are. This is all a cover up. I love this. I love this.
Either I'm running it for the Sinaloa, or or I'm like slanging it on the side, like getting some.
Have you done drug coverage?
Oh my God, I worked down in the valley. Yes.
Really?
Exciting. Yes. Yeah.
Have you been in danger?
So I did a documentary about 2.5, almost 3 years ago now. It'll be 3 years this December. On the border when Trump was first talking about extending the border wall, and so we did it in Arizona, and went into the Mexican side and actually slept because there is a big Indian reservation, the Tohono O'odham, and a lot of their land is used by drug runners. And so if you just hang out with some of the Indian tribes there on their land, you can actually see the drug runners coming through in the middle of the night. And so, yeah, it was pretty intense. I mean, you could see them watching the entire time. Yeah. It's dangerous. I shouldn't like smile whenever we talk about it, but it's a huge adrenaline rush. Yeah, it was a great documentary. If you haven't seen it, you should check it out. It's on YouTube. It's probably one of the most watched documentaries for CBS.
What's the name of it?
It's called. I want to make sure that I actually.
It's on the CBS YouTube page.
Yeah. It's our CBSN.
We're all looking it up right now. Let's see. Mireya CBS Cartel. Does it pop up?
No, it was called it's called The Wall, or it's called The Nation Divided.
Nation Divided.
Yeah, it's got about 2 million hits. 1.8 million.
What?
Yeah.
There's a part 1. There's a part 2.
No, it's just a part 1. Here
it is.
Just like teases and like updates or whatever, but yeah.
Yeah,
so we spent about 3 weeks on it. We did it. It's all in separate time frames. That's probably right around the time that things got up and running along the border and stuff like that. But that's, it was an incredible, experience to do that and to be out there. And we slept on the tribe and slept with them, and not with them, but you know what I'm saying. Like we slept out there.
Amongst the people.
And they live like a very humble, meager life, and so it was really interesting.
All right. It's called The Wall Dash A Nation Divided.
Yeah.
CBS News YouTube, because there's also one on ABC. This is The Wall, not that one. It's a CBS News YouTube page. The Wall Dash A Nation Divided. I'll put it in the show notes for everybody so we can get a link to it. That's really cool. It's 26 minutes, so I'm gonna go and check that out later on. Right now, so CBS Originals. So you got to do that long form storytelling. That's cool.
I did it once. They didn't love me, so I haven't been asked.
Come on! Why did they love you?
Because it's funny. It goes back to what we were talking about. Like, documentary people it's almost like podcasters, right? Like, and print writers versus like TV. It takes a different style of journalism, and I don't really know if I fit what they were looking for, but 1.8 million says that I clearly fit someone's style.
And that was 2 years ago, so 1.8 million. So whatever, fools, and you're doing it. So, all right, we'll talk about that next episode. We'll get going with it because.
But hold on, I think you need to ask the public.
Forget the public.
And no, I mean you can't just look. Look, you're going to get your news somewhere. You're going to get your sports somewhere. We can't offer that. So we need to ask people what they want.
Okay. So are we officially signing a contract here? We're going to do a podcast, you and I?
I think so. My vote was for Matandalo, but you didn't like that one. I mean, like killing it? I mean, come on.
But then we do that, people are going to say, oh, their podcast is in Spanish.
Oh, that's true. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
And then they're going to want us to speak Spanish, and mi español mucho no guro.
Yeah.
So.
And I date a bunch of white guys, so I mean, like, I want them to be able to watch and enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I don't really know if that's going to work.
All right.
So let's just move on.
And for the record right now, this is not a dating show for Mireya. All inquiries, you have to go through me, and I'll let you know. I'll filter them all out for you. Anyway, all right, so seriously, we're going to do a podcast, you and I, right?
We're going to try to every Monday.
We're going to branch off of this, and I'm going to call iTunes, I'm going to call Libsyn, I'm going to set that up, where I'm going to create a separate name, a separate everything. We need artwork, we need a name, we actually need a direction, like, what do you guys want to hear from us? Obviously, it's going to be storytelling from Mireya and me, like what we've gone on through our career, but it's not about the journalism, it's not about that, it's more just like the fun as two Latinos are just navigating their world through their early 20s.
Right.
Late 20s for some of us. I'm not saying who, but.
Yeah, I was gonna say, huh?
Yeah. So give us some ideas of what you want to hear from. I really do think the rapport that we got, we can go and do something like The View is for old ladies. What can we do as two young people? And then we can maybe get a guest or two or something like that. But I think you and I back and forth. I definitely want to do this idea, Mireya, because your life is so interesting week to week. Mine isn't compared to yours. I thought mine was.
There's equal here, and you know it. You need to open up, okay?
No.
You need to be like a flower. Okay?
I thought mine was good and exciting until I heard you, because I don't have a bad day bag. I don't have a hurricane bag. I don't have rental cars with like different stuff going on. I got a 12-year-old car with 250,000 miles and half of a bumper. So like that's how I roll. So I really want to do this. It's like, hey, how was Mireya's week? And we just go to start it off.
Come on.
And my week too, because I was at. I'll tell you a cool story here. Yesterday at SoFi Stadium covering the Charger game, I was standing next to a kid named Rashawn Haylock. And he and I'll send you the picture. This kid is in his 30s, but he looks like he's 12 years old. And he has been rejected for every TV job you could think of. He's plugged around here in LA, bouncing back and forth, doing junior college football games online, does high school stuff. He's now working for the KTLA Channel 5, the local affiliate here, as their third reporter. And we took a picture and we sent it back to a man who hired us in 2005, Tom Strickfaden. We were working at a local cable company. This is 15 years ago. Rashawn was still in college. I was at radio, but I didn't know I wanted to do TV. We were doing high school football games for free because they gave us sandwiches from Subway. And I was like, this is just cool to do. And what happens? 15 years later, we're standing at the new $5 billion football stadium built in Inglewood, California, the new Rams Stadium, new Charger Stadium. And I look at him like, damn, Rashawn, like, we've come a long way, bro. Like, and it feels like yesterday. And I was like, you know those people where you root for them and you're happy for them, like, genuinely, where it's like, he got that job at Channel 5. I'm like, hell yeah. Normally, I'm like, what the fuck? You didn't hire me? I'm better than him. That's how I normally think. But with Rashawn, I was like, nobody deserves it more than him. And then, so we took that picture yesterday, and it was, like, cool to see, like, there are good people and everything comes full circle. So that was my weekend right there.
I think we should have Rashawn on. We should hang with him.
Oh, dude, no, because he looks like he's 12 years old, man.
That's ageism. That's reverse ageism.
Because he's going to be 80 and he's still going to have a job. He won't need Botox like I do. So
hater. I feel like there's some haterade coming from your side.
Man, he's just so smooth looking. Yeah, all right. No, I'll open up, so we'll get going. All right, we're done. There it is.
We're done.
All right, so send us some show ideas. Show us a name, possibly. If you're a graphic designer, maybe we can get a little something going on. And also doing more research with Mireya. There's nobody out there like us in the podcast space. Ooh, this 8.5 is kicking in. And I got to speak to USC in about 20 minutes. So
All right.
yeah,
all right.
but there's nobody in the podcast space like us because there's nobody like us.
Yeah.
And I'm saying this like,
I do want to give a little shout out to Ben Osterman. I am very good friends with his mama, Diane. Ben is in the beats world. He has been laying down some sick stuff.
oh,
So if this is happening, we'd like to invite Ben to create something for us.
well, Ben, as long as it's original, we can use it. If not, iTunes will kick it off.
That's
So
what I'm saying. That's what I'm
anything
saying.
original for the Mireya show, we will get it.
Shut up.
All right, so Mireya, we're doing it again. We'll figure it out. Once again,
Okay.
Mireya Villarreal on Twitter, her Instagram. What is your Instagram?
We went over this. The real Mireya Villarreal. Thank you very much. You know why? Because I don't sell hair products. I am the real deal. There you go.
That's what it is.
And on Twitter at CBS Mireya.
Yeah, I've been posting that, so you want to go check it out as always. Thank you, Mireya. We'll talk to you next week. We're going to do this again. We are launching a podcast between Mireya Villarreal and Beto
Hey,
Duran.
You know what? We need to get your mama to say it. Just say it. Have it. That needs to be in the podcast. You know what I'm saying?
See, I don't know you, but like, let me just say you right now. My mom is mean. She's not going to say anything.
Oh, I'm sure. I am counting on that.
Esperanza does not play. Esperanza will not get involved. She's 5'1" maybe, and I'm still scared of her. So,
I like her already.
yeah,
I
whatever.
like her.
Whatever. All right, Mireya, thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon. As everybody,
Yep.
thanks, rate, review, and let us know. We're dead serious. We're going to start another podcast. Beto and Mireya are going to get going just for you people. Thanks for listening for another edition of Living the Dream.